Let's talk about perennial vegetables for shade. For many gardeners, being able to produce food in the shade can really revolutionize your landscape and your home food production. One of the species that we grow a fair amount of here is bamboo. These are some edible shoot bamboos that you eat essentially like asparagus. You pick the shoots when they're about this high. Unfortunately, ours aren't quite starting to come up yet. They come in a little bit kind of late May for us here. Bamboo is also a very useful plant for making garden stakes and other projects around the garden. And this one serves as a privacy screen and windbreak for us as well, and it provides a little winter evergreen interest visually. You will get a chance to see in Mexico and Florida later on some truly impressive bamboo that make these look like a sort of a knee-high joke. But here in Massachusetts, this is about as good as you can do, and they are very, very nice eating. Under our bamboos here we have a vegetable which I'm a really big fan of. This is Fuki, a vegetable from Japan, and the part of Fuki that you eat is the stalk, kind of like celery. This is just boiled for about 10 minutes, peeled, and then it makes a very nice vegetable. And these plants, believe it or not, are still very small. In midsummer, when you have full shade and good moisture, the leaves will be about this big across and the stems can grow up to about this high. This is a very productive vegetable and a great way to make good use of wet shade. The thing you can't see here is how we're controlling these two weedy species. The bamboo in particular is famous for running in every direction. Fuki has some of the same tendencies. So before we planted them, we dug a rhizome barrier, essentially a trench all the way around that we put about 24-inch deep plastic in to keep the bamboo from running in any direction and hold it in place. Now the Fuki bangs up against that same rhizome barrier from the outside, and that helps to keep it under control. And also our path comes by here. It doesn't like being stepped on, so that keeps it under control. And we harvest from this edge. So a lot of designing with these perennial vegetables, which can be a little more rampant, is about putting them somewhere where they're not going to become a weed, either by planting a barrier or taking advantage of existing areas that are mowed or have pathways, or planting where you harvest so that you can keep things under control. A few more perennial vegetables for shade. Over here we have a perennial hosta, and most hostas are grown as ornamentals, but in parts of Asia they're a pretty big vegetable. The curled shoots that come up in spring, early spring, are the part that you eat, and are commercially grown. This variety right here is called sagai, and this form is grown commercially in Korea as a vegetable, and boy do the hostas tolerate a lot of shade and abuse. And the last shade vegetable I wanted to show you in this area is giant Solomon seal. It's a native vegetable that is grown often as an ornamental, but we don't give it enough credit as a food crop. The shoots are what you eat just at this time of year, and the flavor is very much like asparagus. The only issue is that the leafy shoot at the top doesn't have very good flavor, so I just break that off and cook this part up. Now when I first planted it, I didn't imagine that giant Solomon seal was something I'd ever be willing to harvest because it's so beautiful. But over time it really spreads to form a colony in sun, part shade, or even full shade. And at that point, harvesting a few shoots every now and then doesn't seem to bother it at all. It also has edible tubers underground, and whenever we're transplanting them, we often dig some of those out and boil them up and cook them like potatoes. They're very nice cooked that way as well.